Hey, lovely people. How are
Hey,
you?
everybody.
Monday evening or Monday afternoon, depending where you're chiming in from.
Monday night too.
Hiya, Paul. How you doing?
I'm all right. Are you all right?
I'm all right. You all right?
Yeah, been kissing, getting the sun kissing me. Do you know?
You've been kissed by the sun.
Yes, Jesus.
So, hi, everyone.
Hey, Janet.
Once again, I can see you all in the chat saying hi. So, once again, let us know where you're chiming in from. It'll be good to know. I think that most of us from the UK, there were a few that are coming in from the States. Certainly, my cousins have really, really been supporting this show. Well, our cousin.
I was about to say that they are our cousins.
It's really been supporting the show, and we really appreciate you guys. We have got some amazing women on. Last week, Paul had on his friend. Go on, say his name. I mess it up all the time.
Chuma. If you say it like that, Chuma, then you get it right.
Chuma. Yeah. We had on Chuma last week, and man, he bought the A game. He really, really did us proud. He just really spoke for the men. Really, really phenomenal. So we will be having him again next week, when it will be our finale of the trilogy. The kids are in the background. I can hear them.
Yeah, this is the first time.
So I would do my disclaimer. So we always do a disclaimer on here. because I know that sometimes people, they like to kind of troll a little bit, don't they? They like to say, oh, where's your PhD? Where's your degree? Where's whatever? My degree is my degree in life. Like everything that we share on here, we're sharing it from a place of experience. And like I said to Paul, you know, you're professional in your area. There are things that we've experienced that you might not have experienced before, and so we come with a wealth of knowledge. This is the whole reason why we are actually sharing this, is because we know we've experienced certain things. That does it mean that everything that we've done has worked? No. Does it mean it's going to work for you? Not necessarily, but there's no harm in trying. And like I might not know everything, but what I do know, I will share with you. So off to you, Paul.
So you take my words and you steal them, Debbie.
Whatever.
You know what I do know. Yeah, you know what I do know. I will share with you. No, I'm only joking.
Listen, if you go back and rewind back to 2014, you will see that has always been like my slogan. What I don't know. What I don't know.
Yeah, I think what it is that because you got some women up on here today, you know, you're fighting me tonight. All right. No, I'm joking.
I'm not fighting you.
So you know exactly what Debbie said. You know, we have experienced a lot of things in our life. Hence why we're doing this, to share our experiences, to motivate who we can motivate, inspire who we can inspire as well, and we inspire one another. So you know, you can take it, spread it, use it, try it, and hopefully it will work for you. You know, but if it doesn't work, at least you tried, and you don't blame us.
Absolutely. Yeah, don't blame us. So some of you might be wondering, why am I calling him Paul if you've never joined us before? His middle name is actually Paul. His first name is Maurice, but he's my brother, and our parents are from the West Indies, and this is sometimes what they do. Call them their pet. That's his pet name, Paul. It's his middle name, but it's his pet
name.
It's
my middle name.
Yeah, it's your middle name, but you know, just like with my husband, it's exactly the same. I call him Gary. His name is actually Colin. You know, people were shocked when we got married. They're like, why are they saying Colin? His name's Gary. So that's just to let you know, just in case you was wondering. So tonight we have 2 women on. It should be 3 actually. We may get on our cousin Merle, who is just phenomenal. She's just like a firecracker.
Millicent. She's actually on. She's in the chat now.
Is she actually in the chat? Are you sure that that's her? Because the M might be for Maz.
No, you've got it further down. It's Millicent in the chat. If you look in the chat,
right. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. So she's on, but she's not actually in the room yet with us. So I am going to talk about a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. So it's the second part of what a man wants in life, and in brackets, are you wifey material? So, you know, we was having this kind of conversation off air, and we're just going to continue with the conversation. We're going to be bringing in the women to share their point of view, as we did last week. We brought on the men last week, and then this week it's the women, and then next week it's the finale. So we'll have the men and the women on. Hopefully we'll have the same men, same women on next week, all being well. So I'm going to start off with asking my dear friend, our dear friend actually, to come on and join us. And her name is Jackie. And yeah, she is amazing. Yesterday, I was at her birthday. Phenomenal birthday. Just amazing just to be amongst her and her loved ones. But the reason why I chose her to come on is because she's just a woman with wisdom. Like anytime I've been challenged, she's just been that person. But also she is a trained psychologist now. So it's like the icing on the cake. You know, she has a way with words. So I'm going to bring her on. I'm going to introduce, and then we're going to crack on with what a man wants in a wife, and are you wifey material? What makes up wifey material? We're just going to have a conversation, and we're going to see where it lands. All right. Hiya, Jack. How are you?
Hey, hi. How you doing? Hi, Debbie. Hi, Paul.
Hi, brother. Jackie.
Yeah, it's good to be here with you all tonight. I'm really excited and looking forward to the discussion. I've listened in over the previous couple of weeks, and it has been fire. And I've especially liked how the audience has engaged and presented their thoughts and their ideas, and just how that's just blended into to make up the whole show. So yeah, I'm excited to hear, and let's go. Let's do this.
Absolutely. So I really wanted to bring her voice into this room, like I said, because there's so much wisdom in what she has to say. I just wanted to say hi to Kevin, he's in the room, Millicent in the room, which we call her Merle, again, another pet name. Hi, nice to have you all on board. What is that? Gigi Currency, Ezra. I just want to say hi to you all that are coming into the room.
Digi Currency is Chima.
Chima, where's Chima?
Digital Currency.
Oh, okay. Hiya, Chima. So also you can share with other people, bring more people into the room so they can hear the conversation. So Jack, what did you think about the actual topic? What a man wants in a wife? What went through your mind when you heard what the topic was, and in brackets, are you wifey material?
What went through my mind? I think it's a question that does come up for a woman with regards to what does a man want in a woman? What is he looking for? And they create these ideas from different places, and oftentimes come to an assumption that is so far from what a man is truly looking for. I think that it's useful to sit in an audience of men and to hear their hearts and to hear what it is that they're really looking for. And I think as women, we'd be extremely surprised, and we'll probably discover that what a man is looking for in a woman is the same thing that a woman is at the core of her looking for in a man. Ultimately, a safe place where you feel secure, a place where you feel provided for. You know, women also are equipped to provide for men their needs, as well as the women looking towards men to supply their needs. And safety. You know, a man needs to know that the woman that he's looking for or wants doesn't bring her parents into the relationship or her bestie into the relationship.
Oh, we're going to go there.
And vice versa. So it's, you know, safety, security, and provision. So, you know, we've got a lot more in common than we imagine. Yes, we've got attributes that are very different that complement each other. And sadly, what we find is that there is a competing with each other, and that's where the division comes in the home, and you know, and just a breakdown in communication and the coming together. But if we were to really understand each other's hearts, we will discover that we have a lot more in common than not. So that's the sort of thoughts that came up for me, and I really loved how the video was put together. I loved what the man presented. You know, the woman saying, I'm not going to be wifey until, you know, you put a ring on it. And, you know, and that's it, that song, you know, put a ring on it. It's more than a ring that we should be looking for.
Absolutely. So you know what, you said a lot when you mentioned something there. I was just like, oh, we're going to go there in terms of like bringing family members and so forth, friends and whoever into the relationship. And I do know that that is a struggle more so for women than what it is for men. Not that men don't do that. They tend to allow their mother into the relationship, but they don't typically bring friends into the relationship. Whereas women tend to bring friends into the relationship, mother into the relationship, and that's where things can go pear-shaped. I see it from a perspective of women taking advice from other people and bringing that into the relationship, thinking that it is good advice. And not that people are trying to advise you in the wrong way, but you have to know the person who you are with to be able to say, yes, this can work, rather than and not bring it from a position of, well, my mum said this or my friend did this, you know, but rather.
But don't you think that it's a lot to do with the relationships that you have with your mum? I did indeed. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Because for me, I would talk to mummy, you know, along the way in my life. I think that women like my mum have so much wisdom, and you know, the scriptures say that the woman is to help me. So I believe that in women there is so much that as a man we can learn as well if we're listening, if we're tuning in, you know. And I find that mummy's been like that, and I've had certain female friends as well that have advised. You know, I don't have to take everything, but I think that men do talk, you know, to the right person who they're comfortable with. That's what I was going to say, you know.
Okay.
Anything in the chat? Anybody in the chat?
Sorry?
No, I was saying, anybody in the chat, add to that if you want to. We'll read your comments as well.
Yeah, I think that that's a valuable point in terms of bringing your, like, having conversations with your mum. We're talking about when it becomes interfering, where you are allowing your mum to dictate what is happening in your relationship. That's completely different.
It's mum's or friends.
Huh?
Mums or friends.
Mums or friends. You having a conversation with someone, there's no harm in doing that. But when you start bringing things in like, oh, but my mum said this, or my friend said this, and the way how you act, you know, bringing that kind of conversation to the table is never going to go good at all. What do you think, Jack?
I think we have to be careful about how. See, whoever we talk to, we're opening ourselves up to being influenced by them.
Definitely.
And if your mother is influencing you more than your wife or more than your husband, like the knowledge of your husband or knowledge of your wife, then that's where that could become a challenge, because your mother or your friend knows how they would want to be loved. They know what they expect. They know what they've experienced. But your partner is a very individual person that may be on a road of discovery. So it would be more beneficial that, you know, you both take yourself to somewhere, you know, like marriage workshops, retreats, where you do it together, where questions and scenarios, you know, create conversation, and you use that moment to share and really get to know each other. That's how I believe you will truly be able to reach each other's needs. Whereas the challenge is that, you know, I'm a mother, and the idea of my children being married and then coming to me and presenting, you know, issues or giving me access into something that's very private and very sacred, it can, you know, bring up things in me that, you know, I'm first of all going to be for my children.
Absolutely.
And as much as, say, for instance, my son, I might have a bias to the woman because it's woman to woman, but there's always going to be something about me that's involved in them. And so I see it personally as my best position is outside. If I observe anything, then, you know, send some encouragement, but not necessarily open myself up to pre-marriage. Yeah, let's go for it. Let me tell you the rundown. Let me explain about, you know, intimacy, and let me explain about, you know, it's not about cooking your mom's food for your husband, but finding out what it is that your husband loves, and before you get married, and learn how to cook that thing. If you really want to please him. So before marriage, let's grind, let's work, let's, you know, let's tear things open, let's really go for it. But during marriage, it's like,
absolutely. So those of you who wasn't watching last week, we actually had a video that's up. So I would encourage you to watch the first video, because I'm not going to play all of the video today. I'm going to play a different video, but I want you to go back and look at that video, because the woman's speaking on behalf of us women and what we should actually be bringing to the table in relation to the mate that we are looking to be with. And she was talking about women nagging. She was talking about women being insecure, and we touched on quite a bit of that last week, but I wanted to take it to a different kind of level. Do you want to read those conversations in the chat there, Paul? And I'm going to get the video up. We're just going to briefly listen to this video, because I think that this is another element to what a man wants in a wife. Go ahead, Paul.
I start from, hi Janet as well. Millicent said you're right in what you was speaking about, Jackie. Chum was saying he's from the UK. Millicent is LOL. Kevin Beavas, good to see you and hear from you, sir. He's saying what's up. Millicent, go. Cultural. I guess she was talking about maybe cultural influences. Let's keep going. Congratulations, Jackie, from Millicent, for your birthday. We have Eddie Mason. Eddie's blessings to you all. And then we've got the Rolling Vets. That's absolutely true. I don't know if it was you speaking, Debbie, or you, Jackie, but whichever one, they agreed with you, you know. And then be careful. This is Rolling Vets again. Be careful who speaks into your relationship. And that's very true. You know, you said it, Jackie. You can have people that influence you. They've got your ear, and everything they say you take as gospel. And then you start, you know, for some people, it's their trauma, it's their brokenness, it's their that, and they're speaking from that perspective as opposed to being unbiased, you know. So yes, I agree.
And
Absolutely.
Also the reality is I don't know say for instance, my daughter's husband. I don't know him that well, and I will never ever get to know him as well as she does. So she's the one who has to protect his heart. He's the one who's supposed to cover her. So there has to be that element of intimacy between them that is so sacred from, you know, me and her siblings and her best friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you said, go on, Paul.
No, you go.
So earlier on you said, Jack, in relation to, you know, people being in a relationship, my train of thought just went. Go on, Paul.
I was going to say that I've been guilty of speaking to the wrong people about situations in my life, you know, out of hurt or vexation. You know, you've grabbed someone and you speak to them and you tell them, listen, and as time's gone on, you realize that, and you said it, Jackie, it is sacred. It is between like myself and my wife, you know, or my wife and myself. And I'm glad I've learned that, because it's always been something that, you know, it's been a habit. You know, when you're hurt and upset, you have a tendency to gravitate to those that will give you and listen to you, not necessarily give you advice, because I'm not that sort of person where people can advise me like that and I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it and I'm going to evaluate it, you know, being that I'm analytical. So I know whether or not it's going to benefit me, or maybe sometimes I just want them to just say something, you know, and so that it's a different perspective in my mind. Yeah.
Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I'm going to try and bring in our other guest. She is a dear friend of ours. We all know her really, really well, and I wanted her to come on here and share, simply because I feel like she's amazing. She knows this, but she's going to be married nearly 20 years. And I think that it is worth hearing from somebody who has been married that length of time. And I think that we all know no relationship is perfect. So we don't have to know the ins and outs of what goes on behind the scenes in a marriage. We all can, if we've been in lived long enough and been in any form of relationship, we know that it can be difficult and challenging with your children, with work colleagues or whatever. So it's not painting a picture like, oh, it's a perfect marriage, because, you know, we know that nothing is really perfect, but it's perfect for them. And what has sustained it for 20 years, you know, during pandemic, people's in the house, you know, people are like tearing each other's hair out. What has sustained it for that length of time? So I wanted to bring her voice into the conversation, because I think that we can probably hear what she's got to say and learn some things from that. So without further ado, my dear friend Marilyn, I am going to bring you in the room. Hey, Maz.
Hi, Marilyn.
Is you're not muted? I can't hear you.
I did actually mute myself, so I apologize.
Yeah,
Hi guys, all is well.
Yep,
all is well. I've been listening in and wanting to chip in. Like,
yeah, so chip in. Where did you want to chip in? Where you wanted to chip in? Where were you talking about family and friends in relationships, right?
Yes, exactly that. I just wanted, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I am greatly honoured, and I appreciate the fact that you think whatever I'm going to say is going to add some weight to the conversation.
We've been married 20 years. Come on.
I know. I can't even believe it myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's gone really quick. Not even gonna lie. It's gone really, really quick. But just on the point where you were mentioning about speaking about, you know, outside of the marriage, I've never ever done that. I think it's important that whatever's in your house stays in your house, unless you want a mediator or a counsellor. I think it's important that you don't. For me, I've never aired my, you know, dirty linen outside. I've always kept it in, and I guess that's one of the things that that's helped us to sustain the 20 years. Because I just feel like it's between me and him, unless I want a little bit of guidance. But for the most part, it's between him and me, and no one else. Because what happens is you will tend to take the opinion of the other person, and you're not really, you know, that's not the way you want to. That's not the route that you want to go down. But if you're listening to the negative voices or just opinions, it could sway you from what you're really feeling. Do you get what I mean? So I tend not to do that.
That's awesome, Maz. I think that it's valid when you say, if you want to bring somebody into the conversation, it's really about having a mediator, somebody who's going to be able to stand in the middle and say, well, this is what he's actually saying. Can you hear what he's actually saying? And this is what she's saying. Hear what she's actually saying. Because sometimes what happens is that you're going to hear what you want to hear. Sometimes you're going to a certain way because they might have said this and you might have interpreted that in a completely different way. So having a mediator is always great. Me and Paul, we often bounce things off of one another, and the reason why we do this, sometimes we have conversations and I say to him, but you agree with me sometimes because we was brought up in the same household, so we've got the same similar principles and values in terms of relationships, and so oftentimes we might agree, but then I might throw like a spanner in there and say, well, what about this? And he might say, well, what about that? You know, so that we're not looking always to agree, we're looking to find solutions to problems. And the reason why I bounce it off, because a lot of the time it's a man's perspective that I'm trying to get, and I don't want to take it outside there, you know, further afield. I know that my brother's going to give sound advice. He's a man, and so there might be things that I might have missed, you know.
And the thing is that I don't always
agree
with Debbie with what she's saying. I will correct her as well in saying, well, you know, I hear you. However, you know,
We both do that.
Yeah, we do most definitely. I think it's, again, I said it at your wedding as well, is that I'm protective over my sister. I'm the bigger brother, and I like to make sure that my sister's safe, and not just safe physically but mentally as well,
That's right.
so I'm never going to give her advice that's just wayward or whatever else, and I'm not just going to tell her what she wants to hear. I'm going to correct her if she needs to be corrected as well. I always urged my sister and pushed her to have a voice when she was younger, that no man would take her for granted. Why? Because we do. There's times we take women for granted, vice versa, but I wanted her to be able to stand her ground where she needed to stand her ground against any man, and you both know her history of where she's coming from. We may share it here one day, who knows, but and that's why she's phenomenal as well. She's a good sister, good little sister.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you, Paul. I'll give you a fiver after. Only a fiver, though.
You said 20. You said 20.
Oh, okay then. All right. I'll do 20.
I also think it's nice that you've got, Debbie, I also think it's nice that you've got that closeness with your brother to actually get some, the perspective of the man.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Sometimes we as women don't quite understand what they're thinking. But because you've got your close connection with your brother, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and I do absolutely value his opinion. And sometimes, there's been times we've had heated discussions, and it's like, and he would say, I remember one time he goes,
do you remember the shouting?
Put the phone down on me. This is me. No, it's disconnected. All of a sudden you remember it's your big brother. This is him. You put the phone down on me. This me. No, I think disconnected. I was so annoyed because I was just like, what do you mean? You're my brother, innit? You're meant to agree with me. But he wasn't agreeing with me, and it did vex me because I was already vexed. And I went to him wanting him to side with me, and he weren't having it. And after a while I was just like, I'm done here. I just put the phone down. And he called me back all innocently, like, oh, did you put the phone down? This me no. I said the phone did go down. So yeah, so we don't always agree. Paul, read the Mel put something in there, and cousin Sharon as well put something.
Yeah, cousin Sharon was just saying hi. So hi, cousin Sharon. Millicent said, exactly, Debbie. That is the reason a therapist, etc., as a person on the outside with a perspective that is educated and spiritual. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this video. Huh?
No, I was going to say, but we don't, and that's the thing is, that stigma of going to a therapist or a counselor. I don't know if it's kind of been lifted now, but for men, we tend to, we men want to fix things, and we feel we have this thing about us that we can. And I'm going to say, I was that person, and I realized that I'm no woman's counselor. Okay, I'm not a counselor, and I'm definitely not the therapist. Always trying to fix someone who's broken.
That's me.
When you can be broken yourself, and I was. So I agree with you, Mel. Let me just finish this, Debbie.
Go ahead.
Cousin Sharon, hello. Hang on a minute, this thing going down.
I wanted to add to what you were saying, Paul, in that before there were therapists and counsellors, there were elders.
Aye.
Which is so different to going to your mum or your dad. But you went to the elders who you didn't speak one-on-one with. You invited them in, and then you both together presented what the issues were, and the elders would then bring counsel. So that was quite, the norm until it deteriorated for whatever reason. Yeah. But that's the healthy way of doing that, because, with the more counsel you can get, whether it's through a book or a workshop or from elders, the better. I think it's important to be careful that those that you're you know, confiding in, that they're not too closely involved, because the biases can show up in different ways.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. So I'm going to play this quick video. I think it was quite interesting. I think we all kind of found it interesting, this video, in terms of marriage. You guys in the chat, tell us what you think.
Girlfriend.
So what you're saying is, I have to marry you, make you my wife, in order for you to start doing wife things.
I'm just a girlfriend.
Okay. Okay. Shatrika, do you want to marry me?
Yes.
Why?
Because you a provider, a protector. You watch out for me. I love you. Why would I not want to marry you?
I appreciate that, and I love you too. So what you're saying to me is, those are the things you want your husband to do.
Yes.
So you see your husband in me.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So the things I'm doing right now, even though I'm not your husband, you want your husband to do. And the crazy thing is, that's just who I am. Not because this is what I feel like I have to do. I do it because that's who Jeremy is. I'm already a husband. I'm just not your husband yet.
The final bit was, I'm just not your husband. What do you think of that, Jack?
I love it. I love it. When I first saw it in the beginning, as she was speaking, I was thinking, yeah, there's too many women doing wife things when they're not wives. But when it went on and he spoke, I then saw it in its purity, in that, yes, when a woman, you know, meets a man, I don't know what, you know, her needs are, what her expectations are, you know, as a husband, you know, maybe opening the car door, being attentive, being a provider, you know, paying for the meals and, you know, really looking after her in getting to know her. And then she feels this sense of, oh, I like him, you know, I could marry this man because he's got me. But likewise with the man, it's a case of, you know, okay, how does she present herself to attract him to say, yes, I want this woman to be the mother of my children. I want her, you know, to be the other person in our bank, you know, joint bank account. And I'm sure that's, you know, men think very differently when they think about, you know, a wife and what they want. And so how does a woman show who she is? And again, I think this idea of women thinking they know what a man is looking for in a woman. And so they perform, they present themselves, they do the acting. And I've heard too many stories of men that say, you know, after they went home, after the wedding vows, it was like, who is this woman? This is not the woman that I've been courting for the last year. It's like this monster just appeared. So, and it's difficult to keep up acting. So,
and you're right, you know, Jackie, you're so right. I remember someone had said, I'll just make the comment that they said, back to reality now. And I never knew what that meant. Oh, I sure found out what that meant.
Back to life.
You know, because let's use the word, the honeymoon period seems so, and the reality is that it's two strangers coming together, you know, and you're not going to agree with everything, but you're going to work at it. I always use the analogy that marriage or any relationship is like a business. So if two people are investing in that business, it will flourish. But if one person's taking or not putting in, bankruptcy will happen. So that's why, you know, that's something that I say, and it's something that I've kept, that as long as I know that I'm investing, I'm looking for your investment as well, you know. Absolutely. And I will translate what it is that I'm looking for, your part of the investment, you know, because I might have a stronger area than you, and you might have a stronger area than me in certain, you know, in certain fields of the relationship, but they work. They'll come together and work because you're working and striving for it to be successful. And it's only when one person starts to sit back and lay back and, you know what, don't touch me, and where you going, and you know, and all these sort of things, it creates problems, you know, as opposed to communicating what it is that you're feeling, you know. And this is what some men actually feel, you know, talk to me as opposed to speaking at me. You know, your brokenness from your past relationship or your ex, like I used to deal with women from the perspective of my exes. You know, you will find the same type of traits, but they're not the same person. So you have to deal with them from a different perspective as an individual, someone new. Now, if they clone what you had, then you know what? That's your business. You chose that person. That's on you. You know what I mean? But it's not really. You'll find that there will always be the same type of traits, but it's the way that you communicate with him or with her that will make the difference.
Absolutely. What do you think, Maz?
Right, so I got cut off a little bit, but what I wanted to, because obviously you asked me to sort of give a synopsis of why I think our 20 years of, why we've sustained our 20-year relationship. And I think one of the things, just going on what Paul was saying, was that it's about and when I thought about it, we have myself and you have never disrespected each other in terms of, oh, you or he's never come back at me, you we've always, if we've had a disagreement, it's always dealt with very respectfully. One of the things that I can say is that we have a lot of respect for each other. So I always think to myself, well, if I talk to him that way, there's no way that I can turn around and say to him, why are you talking to me like that? Because I've just talked to him like that. So you get what you get. So yeah. I always have.
No, it's breaking up.
That was so powerful what she was saying.
Absolutely. Let me just read what Ezra said. He said, he who finds a wife, something that Paul was saying earlier on, finds a good thing, not he who finds a girlfriend. So we was talking about this earlier on offline, and we was talking about whether you whether somebody can be taught how to be a wife, whether that person's already going to be a wife. You know, I believe that there's elements of a woman who is a wife. Like, I don't think that you can say that a girlfriend, you're dating someone and that person is definitely your wife when she's not demonstrating wifey qualities. Do you get what I mean? That's my personal opinion.
Do you want to read that, what Ben's just put?
Mel said, not biblically if he is not her husband. Ezra agreed with Millicent. However, from the content of this conversation, what a man wants in a wife, I'm assuming we are talking about a man is worthy of being a husband. Absolutely. So in that video, going to bring you back on, Maz. In that video, that guy was already demonstrating that he is a husband. She recognized that he is a husband, but he said to her that you are not wifey material. And she is saying, well, I'm waiting for a ring to be on my finger to demonstrate that. You know, you don't demonstrate it afterwards. This is why some men are not to marry you, because you're not demonstrating it. You might have the full potential of being a wife. I think that may be somebody who's already been hurt, somebody that's already been wounded, and that there's traumas there, and refusing now to say, I'm going to demonstrate this until you put a ring on my finger. I'm not going to, and when I say give up, I don't mean, you know, sexually or anything like that. I'm not going to give you wife material until you show me that you are going to be my husband. But from what he was saying, he was demonstrating all the things to say that he was going to be a husband. She identified it. So I couldn't understand where the resistance was coming from. And I'm only assuming that there was probably some past traumas that made her say, I am going to withhold what I should be giving out, you know, and it's for that. If that is the case, it is for that woman to heal from those past traumas and then demonstrate that she is worthy to be a wife. Because I think
Is
that
that,
just
don't you
because
think
a man is worthy to be a husband, a
don't you
woman.
think it's for just for men and for women as well? It's recognizing that you have some traumas.
Guys, can you hear me? I'm finding it difficult to hear you, guys.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, yeah, you guys are a bit
Are
delayed.
we quiet? Are we quiet or tinny?
You're not quiet.
Okay.
Like you keep the signal keeps on breaking up.
It's probably on your side then, Maz.
Okay.
Okay. So let Maz talk. Let Maz go ahead and finish saying what she was saying before her.
I was just going to say, you were saying that the video, if I'm correct, the husband, the woman said that she will only become a wife once she gets the ring on her finger. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Not a wife, wifey.
Sorry, wifey.
So it's without the sex. We're not talking about sex. We're talking about other attributes of a wife. Yeah.
But for me, that sounds like she's materialistic. Because why would you need a ring to become a wife? Become wife material?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense to me.
I think that's how society is. I think that's how society has really broken it down. You know what I mean? Put a ring on it.
I guess.
Put a ring on it. It's not. You know.
True. You're very right.
It's kind of like it's like if you don't put a ring on it, then I'm not doing anything. Do you know what I mean? I just think I believe it's a societal issue. This is how they are saying that women need to project themselves. This is how they're meant to be. Why am I going to be with this man if he's not prepared to put a ring on it? Well,
to commit himself.
But
you see, the thing is that I said it earlier on. The commitment has to just be there from day one.
Yeah.
You know, if he's for her and she's for him, you will iron out those issues. You know,
because absolutely.
You're giving the whole of you and not, my mum said something about 50-50, but it's a whole different perspective of what she was talking about. What a doctor had said to her when I was born. But if you're only giving 50%, why would you want 100% out of this other person? You can't be giving 50 and want 100. You've got to give 100.
No, exactly.
Likewise. So that then for a man, he's looking and saying, wow, this woman is just something else. And the woman is saying, wow, this man is just something else. And then whatever, like I said, two strangers coming together, whatever's going to happen after that, you've been still given 100%, and you're both ironing out those issues because you're two strangers coming together.
So Maz, going back to what you were saying in regards to the respect, what I wanted to ask you, prior to getting married, did you do premarital counselling? Did you do?
Say that again?
I said prior to getting married, did you do premarital counselling?
I didn't hear what you said, Debs.
Prior to getting married, did you do premarital counselling?
If you call it, it's probably like 1 or 2 meetings. So I can say something. So my expectation, going into marriage, my expectation was it was going to be really nice and smooth and yay! Yeah, right. No.
Yeah.
No. I came crashing down.
Mm-hmm.
I came crashing down.
She's gone
about
again.
Learning about that person, learning how they operate. Okay, so for example, we both have a common goal. We want to spend the rest of our lives together. We want to be committed to each other. We love each other. We want to respect each other. That's done. But then the date coming from an independent way of living, things had obviously have to change or had to change. So I had to adjust, not my personality, but me as a person, to accommodate both of us living under the same roof.
Yeah.
Um, I would say that I'm very blessed because Huey is a very laid back, easygoing type person. So he's easygoing, laid back, but what you see is what you get. So I got everything all in one.
Mm-hmm.
Was it easy? I would say yes, and I would say no, because coming from an independent way of living, I had to adjust.
Yeah.
I had to adjust to a lot of things, but it was easy because he made it easy.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
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 His persona, his personality, he made it easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's another element to us sustaining our relationship for so long.
Mm.
But yeah, my expectation, when I first got married, I thought it was going to be, we'll just get along swimmingly. But it takes time, and we're still learning
Growing.
from it.
Mm.
Yeah, we're still growing and learning, but it's easier because I understand him, he understands me. We know when to have give each other space and time, and yeah. I'm
So
a
Maz,
shopper. He's not
you
a
said
shopper.
some really sorry.
I'm a shopper. He's not a shopper.
You said some
But
key things there
he's a shopper. He's a shopper, but he goes into the shop, gets what he wants, comes
and
out.
come out.
Where
That's most men.
I like to mull around, go back, come back. So yeah. Sorry, Deb, I cut you. What were you saying?
I was saying that you said some key things there, especially like to the end in terms of giving that person time, giving that person space, your expectations, what you thought it was going to be compared to what it actually was, and that I think that is what is really important for most people to understand, that you're going to be going into this marriage and things might not look the way that you expected them to. So having expectation, you only get disappointed if you have an expectation.
Yeah.
We all typically go in expectation, but how about having like an open mind on how this is actually going to go? That's why I asked about the signal seems like it's playing up.
Yeah, it is.
Was that? Can you do it?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
I can still hear.
We can still hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a question though to ask Naz.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring you in on that, Jack, because you've been married before. You're a divorcee. Was there any kind of parallels to what Maz experienced, or was it like totally different in terms of levels of respect, understanding, being open, expectations? Give us a little outline on that and where you are now currently.
Can I just ask this? Can Jackie just direct what you want to say to Maz first, and then that?
Yeah. Absolutely. Go ahead,
Jackie.
Maz.
Okay. Maz, what I wanted to ask you was, now after 20 years, so in line with, the theme of this show, after 20 years, what have you discovered about Hugh as to what it was he identified in you to be the one that he chose to pursue as his wife? I think at the time you probably wouldn't have known, but having known him now, what was the qualities or the attributes of yourself that you recognize that if you didn't have them, Hugh and you just wouldn't have lasted?
I think one of the things is he's all about family, and I think if I'm understanding your question, he's all about family, and I'm all about family as well. So we've got a really close knit family. So I think if I didn't have that aspect, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure if that would. Am I going in the right direction? The question.
You are.
Or not?
You are.
Yeah.
You are.
Okay,
Yes, you
yeah.
are.
So family. Okay, yeah. So definitely the family orientated aspect of things. I also think possibly the fun type elements.
Mhm.
I know now. Another thing is we are 100% servers. So we love to give, we love to help, we love to just give of ourselves, and it's not a big deal. It's just not a big deal. So I think if I wasn't that way inclined, I think we would be rocking the boat a bit, because I might be like, if I was opposite to that, and I'll probably, if I was opposite and I'm playing this out now, I'd be like, why are you doing that? Why are you spending time with me? Or why are you doing that for that person? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But because we are both
That's
the
good.
same,
Mhm.
and that's another reason why we have maintained our relationship. Because
And
we
you're
just
both
we
Bajan.
love to we're being Jan, yeah, Ron.
You're both Bajan.
Actually, that was a good commonality as well.
Yeah.
So I hope I've answered. Those were the two main things I think.
You actually shared 3.
Oh,
But that's good. But
possibly again. Just one more thing, I would say, because he is organised and he's a good planner as well. So again, we've got that kind of thing going on where we're sort of similar. But sometimes they do say if you're similar to one another, it don't always work, does it?
That's what they say.
that's
So
what they say.
I don't
So
know.
who's
There will
they?
be-
How can you
That's what I
The
mean.
jury,
Yeah, exactly. Who are they?
huh?
And I think as outsiders who've known you for a while, I think we could say from observation that what Marilyn has spoken of, we've seen it.
Absolutely.
We've seen their humor, we've seen their, the way they serve, we've seen how they are about family. And it just goes to show that if you've got core values that are the same, how on earth can that divide? That can't divide if you've got the same core values.
Absolutely.
Just before you
Yeah.
elaborate, Jackie, on what Debbie asked you, I just want to just read some of the comments. So I just want to go
That's
to
what I was
Ezra.
going to say.
Yeah. Ezra says trauma is a big deal. If you don't mind me saying, especially in the Black community. Yeah, I hear that. That's why this conversation is amazing. Millicent says, tell it, Deb. Go on, Deb,
Antonelle.
you do. Yeah, go on, you do that.
Antonelle, the quality a person shows from the start should be the same all the way through. Those qualities a man will see should be the basis of him to choose a wife, a woman as a wife. Truly Hidden says, can giving time and space ever become toxic? I don't know about that. Can it? I don't see how toxicity would play off in giving.
See that's open for interpretation, because there's something called, which is toxic, which is called stonewalling.
Right.
And stonewalling is where you just don't want to deal with the issue that's been presented. And so you withdraw, you go quiet, and then you come back when you feel like it, but you never deal with the issue.
Yeah,
that's right.
It depends. I'd need more insight behind that question.
Comment. Absolutely. And
No,
you're right,
Hidden,
it is stonewalling. And it's having that space but never to come back to the conversation. So Millicent said, in this day and age, premarital counseling is very important, enlightening. Absolutely. Antonelle says, can marriage of a Christian and non-Christian work? Who wants to answer that one? Truly Hidden said, yes, stonewalling. Truly Hidden said, my ex-husband would do that. And it would last 3 weeks. Wow. That's a long time. That's toxic. That is toxic. Who wants to answer the question? I can do
it very quickly, in that I've seen the witness of many marriages that are successful and both partners are very, very happy, and one is a Christian and one isn't. But I think if you've got someone who's very religious, again, it's that conflict of values, because where the non-Christian and the Christian, where their marriage flourishes is because there's common values. And so, you know, one going to church and, you know, paying tithes or whatever it is, there is a common value in the house where maybe the non-Christian recognizes, you know, you're giving to charity. We have this value of giving to charity. You're doing it that way, I'm doing it that way, but we have a common value. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it works. It's not whether it can work. I think where there is not the same values is where there is
challenge. And Matt said it's really about the respect. You know, if you're with somebody and that person respects the fact that you are a believer and you respect the fact that that person isn't, you have to make, as a believer, because I'm married to someone who's not a Christian, you definitely have to make adjustments. Your life cannot just consist of you constant with what you want to do and what your desires and what your wishes are, you know. And sometimes people don't understand that from my perspective, but you don't have to understand. This is my marriage, this is my relationship, this is how I'm working it. So if I don't turn up to church for 2 weeks in a row because I'm spending time with my husband and my stepchildren and so forth, that's just what it is. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't have to be apologetic. I'm just in that space where I'm like, you know what, I've seen it where people's put all their time and all their energy into doing what they consider to be the right thing. And I'm a serve, love to serve. I love to be there to help and support people. But at the same time, my family is where, like, I'm family orientated, just like Maz. My family does come first. Does that mean that I'm not putting God first? No. You know, people get the two twisted. They're like, because you don't come to church, you're not putting God first. I don't know where you get that from. But it is about having values that are the same. And it is understanding what that actually means to that other person. And I think that what is important is you understanding that people are people, period. You know, Christian or non-Christians, people are people, and it's loving people rather than saying, are you a Christian or ain't you a Christian? Can Christian somebody who's not a Christian live with a non-Christian? At the end of the day, when it comes down to the core, we're both human beings. We both want to be loved. You said it earlier on, Jack. There are commonalities that we have, and as long as those things are spoken about and worked through, then I think that, you know, you're good to go. What was you going to say, Paul?
Don't know.
You forgot.
But you know, adding on to what you're saying, you know, it is definitely the communication. How you communicate with one another will make the world of a difference, whether you're Christian or non-Christian. That's I find I'm very transparent, and so for me, for me, it's knowing that person, what they're feeling, that they translate that information to me. Because I'm not perfect. I may do something a particular way. And if you're quiet about it, I'll continue doing that thing thinking it's okay. So I'm always looking for that constructive criticisms about myself that I can improve me if that needs improving. You know, I need to know that if I leave my shoes in the middle of the room, which I don't, you know, or drop my boxer shorts down there, which I don't, that you say something, you don't just pick it up and you mumble to yourself.
You don't just kiss your teeth and get vexed, and the person don't know why you're vexed.
Exactly. And you're saying, what's wrong? And they say nothing. And you're like, well, something's wrong. It doesn't matter. See, it doesn't matter. It does matter. Yeah, it matters. How you feel matters. And as long as both parties are doing that, it makes a world of difference. And I hear you now, Marilyn. I hear you, you know, because that 20 years is a long time, you know, and I applaud that. I applaud that because I know, as and I say it from my experience, we're not easy. At times we're not easy, you know. However, your tolerance and the communication that you two have, is tolerance, you know, is why you're 20 years on and 20 years looking forward as well. You know, God be willing, give you guys long life.
Yeah.
You know, that's me right there. So I stop. I want some of the comments, Debbie.
Yeah, so after Antonelle, Truly Hidden said, yeah, stonewalling, my ex-husband did that, and then I finished it off by saying, and it lasted 3 weeks. That was the final comment.
Right, it was the last one.
So because of time, we can just go on. This conversation is just so phenomenal. You guys are just adding so much value to this conversation.
Definitely.
I wanted us all to wrap up with a final word, what you would say in terms of what a man wants in a wife and what consists of wifey material. How could you advise?
I said mine already, yeah.
How could you advise a woman out there to in that respect, like wifey material? What would be the thing that you say to a woman in terms of preparing herself for a husband to see her as wifey material?
I would say
I'll go first, I think. Shall I go?
Didn't hear me. No, go ahead, Maz.
Oh, go on, because she can't hear properly.
Okay. So I would say the very first thing is to ensure that you love yourself. I think that's important. And also know what you're getting into. It's not easy. It's about two people coming together. It's about two people growing. So you've got to be committed. You've got to be loyal. You've got to have respect. You've got to honor the person that you are going to be sharing your walks and everything with, your life with, everything. So it's important, number one, that you love yourself, you commit, you're in it for the long haul, so you're going to stay committed, you're going to be loyal, you're going to be respectful, because that's important. How you want to be treated is the way you should be treating your partner. One second. And yeah, and I think once you've got all those ingredients, that is part of you being a wife. And I think every woman has the potential to be a wife. I do believe that. Deep down in each and every woman, I believe that there is a potential for them to be a wife. I'll leave it there.
Awesome, Maz.
Yeah,
definitely.
Jack.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay, I love to use metaphors and analogies. They just automatically come into my mind. So I'm going to stick to that. We look at the animal kingdom and we look at the human kingdom. In the animal kingdom, it's easier to identify differences because you've got lions, you've got bears, you've got tigers, crocodiles, and all the rest of it. In the human kingdom, it's not so easy to recognize. But ultimately, like attracts like. A man is looking for himself in, he needs to be able to see things in the woman that he can identify with. What we call that values. Do you have the same values as me financially? How you dress yourself, personal care, how you present yourself to others. Are you a people person? Do you enjoy cooking? Do you enjoy eating? Like, can I see myself in you? So, the bear isn't going to get on with the ape, and the giraffe is not going to get on with the lion. And so that's why it's important that you be your authentic self, because I am totally convinced by being in the therapy room is one of the main causes of relationship breakdown, not marital breakdown, but just relationship breakdown, is where there is a misrepresentation of self. They are presenting themselves to be who they think others need them to be. Absolutely. And so in presenting themselves in that way, they attract that kind of person. Yeah. And it's like the bear going on a date with a dog. It's just not going to work. And so they wonder why the relationship doesn't go far. But as soon as they present themselves as who they are, they attract, because the other person identifies something about them that they see in themselves. And that's when relationships begin to work. And it's only when you get to that place, you know, a bear with a bear. If you've got a sore head, you know, we can relate. So I'm thinking about trauma. You know, trauma is secondary. Two bears together can deal with that trauma. But a lion and a giraffe and trauma on top of all of that, it's just not going to work.
That's right.
So I'd encourage everyone, first of all, know your values, really look at yourself, do the work on yourself, know who you are so that you can present your authentic self. Absolutely. And then that will be a magnet to who is compatible with you.
That is so awesome. Did you want to say something, Paul?
No, I was just going to say that
that's a good summary.
That reflects on the man as well in the same situation. It's, you know, for a woman looking for a man and a man looking for a woman, you've got to know yourself. You know, if your self is that you want to be out there all the time, do not misguide a woman in making her feel like she's exclusively yours. If you're a player, as they use the word, then you let we will get to it, and I will share some things, because there's a reason why I say it. Not that I was a player, but I was. But it's a different topic. Let them know who you are. Then when they know that woman who knows who you are will know what I can't invest me, or I'm okay with how you are, you know? And so at the end, if he walks away or she walks away, because there are women that play, you know, you both knew exactly from the beginning, from the offset, what this was all about. I'm not saying it's good and I'm not saying it's bad, but the transparency and the honesty works. It definitely works.
Absolutely.
Just quickly, I just want to read some of these comments. Kevin Bebas says, listening and sensitivity to the needs of each other. Millicent says, say it again, Paul. I just did. Millicent, well, yourself, simply profound. Sharon Winter says, totally agree with Jackie. Be true to self. We have to know yourself and what we stand for before we can be in a successful relationship. Yes, transparency truly hidden, says as well. Okay.
Absolutely. So you just opened like a Pandora box right there, Jack. I was just like, I was ready to just kind of go at it, but I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna bring you back as a therapist and unpack some of that stuff, because absolutely. And I think it's unfair when people date and they send forth their representative, and that representative is amazing, and then when you get married you realize that actually was your representative. Like, who are you? Like, who are you? You know what I mean?
What are you doing in there?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely unfair, and then that person is kind of confused why, you know, you're not gelling, because I actually married your representative. I didn't actually marry you, you know. So yeah, we're gonna unpack that one. That one is deep. You guys need to stay tuned and locked in to hear when this one is actually going to be aired. So I really just want to say thank you to you, Jackie. Thank you to you, Marilyn. You have been,
thank you both so much,
phenomenal. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your opinions, your views, and even sharing parts of your life with us. Definitely. So for those of you who's been listening, this has been another episode of Get Your Motivation, Gym Time with myself, Maurice, Paul, aka Paul, and myself, Debbie, and we're looking forward to bringing you the next episode.
Yes, so Jackie, and well, both of you. You know, both of you are on next week. Yeah, Marilyn and Jackie. Next week,
Are
it's
we?
going to be. Oh yeah, it's going to
in
be
the
fire.
finale next week. What do you
We're doing
mean?
the
The
finale
finale.
next week.
We've
So
got the
we're
men.
asking you
The
guys
men
if you
next
can
week
come
and the
back.
women,
Let me put it like that. We're asking you to come back if possible. You know,
if possible.
there will be
Okay.
men on here as well, and we're going to really debate this. Hopefully there won't be no clashing because we'll be muting you. You know, not you guys. Yeah, I'm not talking to you guys, but it's going to be phenomenal. Debbie's word is phenomenal, and you know it really
Phenomenal,
will be.
awesome.
Because what we're going to have is the man's perspective, woman's perspective, and we'll have that debate. And there's a possibility next week we'll go on a little bit longer than today as well, and what we normally do. So thank you, everybody. And
If
thank you,
I'm
Jack.
available, I would be definitely here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Guys, thanks for watching.
You're welcome,
And we'll
guys.
see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.